Beer here back in the Fantasy Bar, Week 18 on tap. 6 of my favorite plays ready for you to go on FanDuel and DraftKings, including some of my favorite value plays on both sites, near minimum price, a passing game I want to load up on here this weekend, and a beast of the week I think absolutely goes nuts. Who we talking about? Only one way to find out. It's time to belly up to the Fantasy Bar. Welcome in, guys. Week 18 edition Beers Daily Fantasy Six-Pack. Tough to believe the season already wrapping up, but we are back. 6 of my favorite plays ready for you to go on FanDuel and DraftKings for the main slate on Sunday. Thank you, as always, stopping by and checking out this week's video. Before we get to the plays, you guys know the drill by now. Take a second, click that thumbs up button if you enjoy the content. That is the tip jar here in the Fantasy Bar. Much appreciated. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Still doing NBA videos mainly on Mondays and Fridays, and my Pints and Picks video as well with 2 of my favorite NFL bets each weekend. 2-0 on that video last week. So make sure you subscribe. Don't miss any of the content. All right, let's get into the plays here. Week 18. Always interesting. If we have to make any changes, we will do so in that comment section, but make sure you are digging into the news, the beat reporters, and getting all the information you can here in this Week 18 slate. All right, let's start with some value near minimum price at running back with Pierre Strong of Cleveland. Now, we know the Browns locked into that 5 spot. We already know Joe Flacco going to sit. I'm expecting a lot of people to sit here, including Jerome Ford and the injured Kareem Hunt, which should open the door here for Pierre Strong to take the majority of the touches in this Browns backfield. And you look at the options here. It's run the ball, which they're very good at, or give Jeff Driscoll the ball and let him air it out. Even in a meaningless game, I think the Browns going to be playing tough here and running the ball a bunch with Pierre Strong. Good matchup here as well. Cincinnati, bottom 12 in rushing yards allowed, rushing touchdowns allowed, 13th most fantasy points to this position, and really been getting trounced on the ground here over the last 3 games, giving up almost 130 rushing yards per game. Pierre Strong, one of my favorite values here for Week 18. All right, back-to-back running backs here. We're going to roll with Zamir White of Vegas. So Week 18 here, Raiders eliminated from playoff contention. I don't see any reason they bring Josh Jacobs back. Did not practice as of this recording on Thursday. So expect another big healthy dose here of Zamir White, who's really been a workhorse running back. You look at these prices, we are not paying anywhere near what we should be paying for a workhorse. 20 or more touches now in 3 straight games for Zamir White. Has gone over 15 DraftKings points in every one of those games, and another great matchup here with the Denver Broncos. Only Arizona giving up more rushing yards and fantasy points to this position than the Denver Broncos. I think Zamir White, guy playing for a job. I think these Raiders are going to continue to play hard for Antonio Pierce. Look for another big day and another load of touches here for Zamir White. All right, let's go back to value at the wide receiver position with Richie James Jr. of Kansas City. Now, this one risky, no doubt. Kansas City, they're going to rest their starters. They are locked in here as well, and I want to go with Richie James here out of this group. Why? Because I've seen this guy produce. I think he can be a weapon for this Kansas City offense, something they are desperately searching for outside of Rashee Rice and the artist formerly known as Travis Kelce. There's just not a whole lot going on here with the Kansas City Chiefs pass catching groups. So what a week to get a look here and get a full complement of snaps out of Richie James here. Chargers, great matchup for the Chiefs passing game, even with Blaine Gabbert in there. Bottom 5 in receiving yards allowed this season. 2 wide receivers, also bottom 5 in fantasy points. So risky, yes. A lot of plays going to be risky this weekend. I think Richie James pays off in a big way here in Week 18. All right, let's go more value at the tight end spot at minimum price with Johnny Munt of Minnesota. So we know TJ Hawkinson out of the lineup, Josh Oliver starting for this team, but it's been Munt who's really been the preferred guy in the passing game. You look at the routes last week, 32 for Munt, just 8 for Josh Oliver. That led to 7 targets for Johnny Munt. And anytime I can get 7 targets at minimum price, I am all about it. I think he'll see a similar workload here against the Lions. Vikings underdogs in this game. Still a lot to play for here for Minnesota. Outside chance at the playoffs. They need a lot of help, but they will be going full steam here. Lions, 8th most touchdowns allowed to the tight end position. We saw Munt score last week. I think a bet to score again this week is smart. Johnny Munt, minimum price, great value here for Week 18. All right, we like Johnny Munt. We love the guy throwing the ball. We're talking quarterback, Nick Mullins. Now, we had Mullins in this spot a couple weeks ago against Detroit and paid off handsomely in that game. Went over 400 passing yards, couple of touchdowns in that game, near a 5x return on his salary, and the price actually dipped a little bit from what we paid him a couple weeks ago against the Lions. So this Detroit defense, a big question mark heading into the playoffs, and they have not been great against opposing quarterbacks, giving up bottom 10 numbers in passing yards, touchdowns allowed, and the third most fantasy points allowed to this position. Mullins not afraid to wing it around here. I think you see a ton of passing here for the Minnesota Vikings, and another big day for Nick Mullins. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for Week 18. Before we do that, let's continue our Beast of the Week contest. Easy to play. All you got to do, hit that thumbs up button and head to the comment section and guess fantasy points on DraftKings this week. For my Beast of the Week, whoever's got the closest guess, we're going to give you a free week of RotoGrinders Premium NFL as we head into the playoffs. What a better time to arm yourself if you are not a premium subscriber already. All right, let's wrap it up with my favorite play here in the last week of the regular season. You know, Matt's Beast of the Week. All right, Beast time. I told you we're going to load up on one team, and we are going to spend some money here at wide receiver with Justin Jefferson of Minnesota, this week's Beast of the Week. So love the double stack here against the Detroit Lions. As I mentioned, the Vikings still technically alive. They're going to need some help, but they will be going all out. And what a better way to get the ball in the hands of your best playmaker here. So expect Jefferson to see a ton of targets against this Detroit team. We're talking 10 targets in each of the last 3 games for Jefferson. I'd expect near 15 targets or more in this game. And in that game against the Lions, 141 yards receiving and a touchdown. We mentioned how bad this Detroit defense has been. The secondary been atrocious. We're talking bottom 5 in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and fantasy points to the wide receiver position. Been a frustrating year for Justin Jefferson with the team. His playoff chances in peril. His injuries, I expect him to go out with a bang. This is going to leave you plenty of money to spend up on your favorite stud as well. But mine this week, easily Justin Jefferson of the Vikings, this week's Beast of the Week. All right, guys, that'll do it for our Week 18 main slate 6-pack. Any comments, questions, or feedback, hit me up in that comment section right below the video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Beermakersfan, and don't forget your guess for Justin Jefferson's fantasy points on DraftKings for a shot at a free week of RotoGrinders Premium NFL. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Bear saying salut, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck here in Week 18, and we will see you.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist